What's going on, Wash fam? I want to share my 4 most valuable tips when it comes to paver sealing. For the last 5 years, I've learned a lot of do's and don'ts for this service. All these tips come from on-the-field experience, so I figured they're worth sharing. And hey, if you're a DIY homeowner doing your research, stick around for this video because you'll be able to gain a lot of knowledge as well. Let's get straight into this video and jump into tip number 1. This is arguably the number 1 complaint I hear from customers that previously had their paver sealed. I see it all the time when working and passing properties with sealed driveways. Sealant showing a foot up the wall, sealant on the garage door, sealant leaking onto the sidewalks, and just sealant in areas that it shouldn't be. I've heard horror stories of companies even getting overspray all over vehicles and windows as well. There is a few methods to protect surrounding areas, but I'll share my 2 that seem to work the best and are the most efficient in my opinion. As you can already see, using a spray guard will help you out tremendously. But what you won't see is someone selling a spray guard with those 90-degree bends. This is customly done by me and my hammer. It helps so much with the corners as well as overspray on the ends of the guard. Give it a shot and I guarantee you'll love it. The second method is called a vapor shield. This is just a fancy term for pre-wetting the surrounding areas before spraying your material. If you do this method, make sure to do it with a pump-up sprayer or something that puts out a low volume of water. You don't want to go crazy or you'll end up drenching the pavers in sand too much. I typically won't rely on the vapor shield method alone, but some people do. If you do both of those methods combined, you'll be golden, pony boy. Using the wrong sealant for your job can turn into a never-ending headache. It can ruin your customer's hardscape as well as your reputation. With cheap material, you'll tend to get some of these issues: short lifespan, white hazy glaze, slick spots when wet, no sand stabilization, poor color enhancement, uneven look, and the list goes on. When the wrong material is applied, it ultimately needs to be stripped off before anything else is reapplied. This is tough and tricky work for the contractor and very expensive for the homeowner. So make sure you're using professional grade material when it comes to your next job. And no, you will not find it at Home Depot. The top 3 brands I'd recommend are ICT, Trident, and Surface Logics. They will all provide similar results and longevity. ICT's Uraseal is what we use, but it's just personal preference. Do your own research as to what product would work best for your job. These companies also make different products for different hardscapes. So for example, you won't be using the same material for a brick paver driveway and a marble stone driveway. If you want to learn the actual step-by-step process to paver sealing, I'll link my video down in the description so you can check that out. Don't leave yet though, because the upcoming tips are not mentioned in that video. Your overall results are going to go hand in hand with your prep work. Removing all organic and non-organic stains prior to sealing is key. Without a proper cleaning, the results of your seal job may be disappointing. If you have heavy mold and algae growth, you'll want to pre-treat the surface with some type of mold-killing agent. Sodium hypochlorite is a great chemical for this, as well as very cost-effective. I've used sodium hypochlorite on projects, and I've used cleaners made specifically for paver sealing on projects. They both work, and one doesn't produce better results than the other. But no matter what chemicals you use, make sure you are rinsing them out very thoroughly. You do not want to seal over any left behind chemicals. Using neutralizers is also a great way to deactivate any previous chemicals. Next in your prep work is sanding. You can achieve this by pushing dry sand with a broom or pushing the sand with water as you see in the video. Wet sanding is the better option in my opinion because it packs the sand in more compared to dry sanding. Now depending on the sand you use, wet sanding may not be an option. Make sure you don't go to wet sand a hardscape with polymeric sand. Again, in that other video I mentioned, you'll find more in-depth knowledge on this exact process. I'll also make sure it pops up at the end of this video as long as you pop that like button. Wet sanding tends to intimidate contractors, therefore resulting in them bashing the method. If I noticed any flaws in this method, I wouldn't continue to do it, but I don't, and that's probably why all the top paver sealing companies in the US are using this method. This segment isn't on specifically how to apply your material. Again, video down below, but more so on what tools to apply with. It's pretty obvious by now, but I'd highly recommend a spray system. Rolling your material with a paint roller is a very outdated method. The number 1 reason you want to spray is because this will get much more sealant into your sand compared to a roller. A roller won't saturate the joints, and on top of that, it may even start to lift your sand out of the joints. Spraying is also going to give you a much more even application compared to a roller. For your spray system, I'd stick with a 1 to 1.5 GPM cam 12-volt pump. Anything bigger will apply too much material and make the possibilities of overspray go up. Also make sure to keep your hose length around 50 feet and make sure the diameter is 3/8. A budget-friendly option for this hose is some air compressor hose off of Amazon. But anyway, that setup is ideal for the pump I just mentioned. If you guys want to see exactly how to build one, I'll link that video down below as well. I go over step by step how to make your own. It's a great tool because you can apply degreasers, sealant, and other chemicals through this pump. A few things worth mentioning are the wand setup and the proper cleanup once your job is complete. So for the wand, I'd recommend a fan tip over a cone tip and a trigger gun over a ball valve system. It's very important you clean out your system at the end of the day with 5 gallons of water and a splash of Pine Sol. If you don't rinse the system out, it'll be ruined after one use. I hope this video brought some type of knowledge to you guys. If it did, please show some love and hit that like button so it can reach more new guys. Also consider subscribing if you're not part of the family yet. I've got tons of content on the way and loads of previous content that can really help you out. That's going to wrap it up for this one, you guys. As always, much love, and I'll see you in the next one.